The year is 2075, and human beings have finally started settling Mars and Venus. Over time, chronological, economic, social, political differences will ensure that we name the different settlements that we found. And maybe we would follow the convention and name them after places we knew on Earth. So we might find a new Chile, we might get a new New York, and maybe a South African will make us proud and we'll find New Brakpan. But what if we decided to be a bit more inventive? Maybe we were inspired by fiction. We might have a Lothlorien on Venus or a Beantown in Mars. Well, we wouldn't entirely be breaking new ground, because there's a place in the United States that's named after a figure in Spanish literature. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Long before the Age of Conquest, it was already a custom for colonists and settlers to name the new territories that they founded after places in the homeland. Sometimes, though, territories would be named after what the local inhabitants already called it, or after geographical features. And of course, this continued up into the early modern era. For example, much of what is today Mexico and the western United States was the Virreinato de Nueva España, the Viceroyalty of New Spain. But in fact, there's a part of the western United States that doesn't follow that mold. And to understand this, we have to look at the sort of fiction that Spaniards would have been reading in the 16th century. As we've mentioned in our Don Quixote series, please give that a watch if you're interested. We consider it some of our best work here. By far and away, the most popular literary genre in the 15th and 16th centuries, besides hagiography, were the chivalric romances, the chivalric adventures. And one of the popular Spanish titles was Las Sergas de Esplandian, The Adventures of Esplandian, by Garci Rodríguez de Montalvo. In Las Sergas, Esplandian meets the exotic, beautiful queen Calafia, far away in the east. In the story, the lands she ruled over were unknown by inhabitants of Western Europe. And in roughly the 1540s, a Spanish navigator, who was obviously a considerable fan of Las Sergas de San Esplandian, looked at the very west coast of California and was reminded of this exotic queen, La Reina Calafia, and he decided to name the territory that he put down on the map California. Yes, that's right. The state of California comes from Las Californias, which was a reference to a figure in Spanish chivalric romance. But that's actually not the only example I want to bring up here, because there's another example in the Spanish language of almost a reverse process, a situation where an already existing city featured a lot in chivalric romance and then as a consequence entered the Spanish language. I'm talking here about the city in modern-day Turkey, Trabzon, Trebisonda in early modern Spanish. We have to keep in mind that for many Western, medieval, and Renaissance Europeans, Eastern Europe was a world of mystery, wealth, and power that they sometimes felt quite inferior to. For that reason, Trebisonda was a city that featured a lot in the chivalric romances of the time. And because Trebisonda, which was often how it was written, has some similarity to the existing Spanish words Trapala and Trapaza, the word Trapisonda, which was initially a rendering of the city Trabzon, has come to mean hullabaloo, imbroglio, fiasco of sorts. Anyway, I thought that was a fascinating example of how sometimes history and language can be stranger than fiction. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Adios.